Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. Welcome to another compelling program. We are remote, but we're talking about critically important issues. We're now joined by Catherine Van Ness, Deputy Director of State Operations and Policy for the Council for Strong America, and also Hugh Welsh, President and General Counsel of DSM North America and member of ReadyNation. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Catherine, ReadyNation is?
A nonprofit organization of over 2,700 business executives across the nation that follow the research of what works to support our businesses of today and build the strong workforce that we're going to need in the future.
So we're very much involved in an initiative called Reimagine Childcare, previously known as Right from the Start NJ. A report was put out by ReadyNation saying, what about childcare and its connection to the economy? On you, go. You, please go. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's a compelling report that shows that, especially with infants and toddlers, 66% of them grow up in households where both parents work. And the child care system in New Jersey can only accommodate 27% of them. So what does that mean? That means that there's a woeful number of working parents that have to make very difficult Hobbesian-type decisions to either opt out of work, to leave work early, to do other things. And that costs our economy a great deal of money. I think it cost $57 billion nationally last year in just lost productivity, lost sales, lost revenue. So it's a critically important foundation to having a good business, is a strong child care system, particularly with respect to infant and toddlers.
Catherine, let me ask you this. COVID-19 has impacted the child care crisis, if you will. How?
So we are looking at an estimated 1/3 to 1/2 of childcare providers not being able to stay open due to the need to shutter their doors when New Jersey was impacted so hard at the beginning of the pandemic. And even now, as they're looking to reopen, in order to keep their space safe for these children, they need to have lower ratios of staff to children. That means less revenue for them because fewer families are able to attend their childcare centers. And so, when they were making their business plans at the beginning of the year, none of us thought that we would be facing a global public health crisis. But this money is going to help them in the short term to hopefully stay open and meet the needs of working families in New Jersey. But we also encourage lawmakers to think long term and make sure that they also have the system and structures in place to support them moving far into the future, hopefully when we get to the other side of this.
So let's complicate it. There are young people, children, students. Some are remote, some are in hybrid situations, some are in classrooms. Whatever the situation is, how much more pressure has that put on parents as it relates to the child care crisis, all of who need to work?
Yeah, a tremendous amount of pressure, a tremendous amount of additional anxiety at a time where I don't think we need any more anxiety than we're confronting today. We have our corporate headquarters in Parsippany, New Jersey, and just 3 weeks ago, I began to allow reentry on a volunteer basis into that facility, maybe at about 25% capacity. I've had maybe 5% capacity come in. And when I ask the employees why, it's not because they don't feel safe coming into work, it's because they don't have adequate childcare to deal with infants and toddlers, to deal with children working from home. It's going to be a very troubling situation for us to ever fully reopen the economy or ever hope to get back to normal if we don't find a good way to address this problem.
So let's complicate it even more. The situation, Catherine, is exacerbated for lower income families, disproportionately Black and brown. Talk about it.
Absolutely. So we know that infant care in the state of New Jersey averages about $15,600 per year. Now, that's because infants need a lot of care and a lot of one-on-one attention, and that is what helps their brains develop at a rapid rate in those first years of life. But in-state public college tuition costs less than that for a year. So we know that these working families are not able to afford this childcare on their own, and as you mentioned, are making very tough decisions about whether their income is actually worth the cost of that infant care.
So let's do this. By the way, we're putting up the Reimagine Childcare information on the screen as we talk. Let me ask you this, Hugh, as it relates to the ReadyNation report. Any specific concrete recommendations beyond what we are doing now from a policy point of view?
Yeah, we're going to need more government investment in childcare, specifically for infants and toddlers. I mean, we've made collectively the decision as a society that everybody K through 12 deserves a public education, and even those who don't have children in that system pay into the system. I think we're going to need to take a hard look at developing a similar system for those infants and toddlers to ensure that there's a place for working parents to bring their children. I mean, before this pandemic, you'll recall we had record low unemployment. If we're going to get the workforce participation rates that we need to reopen and grow the economy, we're going to need to find a solution for this problem.
Catherine, tell folks what's at stake here if we do not make the investment on the state level, on the federal level, on a societal level. What is at stake, not just for those children, not just for those families, but for us as a society?
Well, we are going to be facing a huge gap in the workforce that we need to reach our American dream and be innovative and find the next best thing for our economy moving forward. This early childcare and education helps set students up for success in school and gives them the skills that they need and the social emotional development that they need to be good coworkers and collaborators and teammates. So, we know that these early years are a critical time to reach children in their development. And unfortunately, it's not a year that you're going to get back. You can't be a 2-year-old with brain development rapidly happening again once you're 5 years old. So we're hoping that this does not become a missed opportunity.
Well, let me say this to you, Catherine, and to you as well. Our commitment to reimagine childcare is ongoing. It is the follow-up, if you will, from right from the start, NJ. Not the last segment, ongoing segments where we continue to shed a light, put pressure. We're not advocates, but we are helping people understand what is at stake. And if someone is out there watching saying, well, my kid's good, my family's good, I have childcare, well, that's not enough. I'm not going to get on a soapbox, but we are in this thing together. And every family and every child that does not have quality, accessible, affordable childcare, it affects not just that child, that family, but all of us. That's what Reimagine Childcare is all about. I want to thank both of you for joining us. We'll continue that discussion about Reimagine Childcare. Thanks for joining us. I'm Steve Adubato. We'll be right back.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the CAUCUS Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by PNC, Grow Up Great, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Johnson & Johnson, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, the Russell Berrie Foundation, Suez North America, University Hospital, and by the Adler Aphasia Center. Promotional support provided by ROINJ and by Insider NJ.
Hi, I'm Governor Tom Kean. A dear friend of mine had aphasia, which is a language disorder that occurs from a brain injury or a stroke. It robs a person's ability to communicate, but it doesn't affect their intellect. Programs and services offered at the Adler Aphasia Center help to improve my friend's communication skills, as well as her self-confidence and quality of life. Most importantly, she was among people who understood her. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with aphasia, there is hope.